Oh, hey. Good to see you. Hope you've been having a good day today. Oh, me? Yeah. I'd say I've been having a good day today. You know, did the usual thing, going to work, and coming on over here. I was very excited for today. Oh, hey. Good to see you, Carmen. So, now that we're here, I suppose we should probably get started. So today, before we take you home, I do think I have some stories to tell. You're here and ready to commit crimes in Mordor. Conveniently you brought up Mordor, because I do have a book right behind me. And it does happen to be Lord of the Rings. Thank you for going live. It's good for your time zone. How are you doing, Solariaki? So, hello, welcome. Let me go ahead and grab that book right now. Better with an angel in screen. That's very sweet. Thank you. There we go. So, of course, for now, go ahead and kick back, relax, maybe put on some music from the Shire, because I can't do that. And go ahead and tell me about your day. How have you been? What have you been up to? What are you excited for? While I get started with Chapter 1 of the Fellowship of the Rings. And then, of course, check in. Am I reading something of that series? Yeah. Turns out I bought a book set earlier. I know. I love when things work out like that. Excited for sleep, drawing, and stealing people's wallets. Ooh. A good sneak thief. Sleep will definitely be very nice. It'll be so eepy during reading time. That's the goal. After all, after a long, hard day of working, just want to make sure everyone gets that rest they so deserve. So, here we go. Chapter 1. A long, expected party. When Mr. Bilbo Baggins of Bag End announced that he would be shortly celebrating his 11st birthday with a party of special magnificence, there was much talk and excitement in Hobbiton. Also, definitely interested in the drawing. What kind of art do you draw, Solariaki? Bilbo was very rich and very peculiar, and had been the wonder of the Shire for 60 years, ever since his remarkable disappearance and unexpected return. The riches he had brought back from his travels had now become a local legend, and it was popularly believed, whatever the old folks might say, that the hill at Bag End was full of tunnels stuffed with treasure. You know what I treasure? That'd be you guys. And anyone else that'll join us in the future. Drawing OCs and other things? Hey, that sounds wonderful. I'd love to see it later, if you'd like. And if that was not enough for fame, there was also his prolonged vigor to marvel at. Time wore on, but it seemed to have little effect on Mr. Baggins. At 90, he was much the same at 50, Discord server when? Well, if there's enough demand, I will bring the supply. You'll have to pick your best pieces then. Can't just show any squibbles. Ah, but that's where the fun's at. To see you try new things and experiment. And of course, they're very, very silly. But I can't wait to see. Very excited. At 90, he was much the same as at 50. At 99, they began to call him well preserved, but unchanged would have been nearer to the mark. There were some that shook their heads and thought this was too much of a good thing. It seemed unfair that anyone should possess apparently perpetual youth, as well as reputably inexhaustible wealth. It will have to be paid for, they said. It isn't natural, and trouble will come of it. I do agree, Carmen. I do like to see work in progress art. It's definitely a lot of fun. But so far, trouble had not come. And as Mr. Baggins was generous with his money, most people were willing to forgive him his oddities and his good fortune. He remained on visiting terms with his relatives, except of course the Sackville Bagginses, and he had many devoted admirers among the hobbits of poor and unimportant families. Currently I'm doing a work in progress silly doodle to use as a template. Hey, that'll be a lot of fun. We do love a good template to use for the future. But he had no close friends until some of his younger cousins began to grow up. The eldest of these, and Bilbo's favorite, was young Frodo Baggins. When Bilbo was 99, he adopted Frodo as his heir and brought him to live at Bag End, and the hopes of the Sackville Bagginses were finally dashed. Bilbo and Frodo happened to have the same birthday, September 22nd. You know, that wasn't that long ago, actually. You had better come and live here, Frodo, my lad, said Bilbo one day, and then we can celebrate our birthday parties comfortably together. At that time, Frodo was still in his tweens, as the hobbits called the irresponsible 20s between childhood and the coming of age at 33. 12 more years had passed. Each year, the Bagginses had given very lively combined birthday parties at Bag End. But now, it was understood that something quite exceptional was being planned for that autumn. Bilbo was going to be 111. 111. A rather curious number. When do we meet the Dilfs? Very, very soon. A rather curious number, and a very respectable age for a hobbit. The old Took himself had only reached 130. 111, that's right. Biggest Dilf of all. And Frodo was going to be 33, an important number, the date of his coming of age. Tongues began to wag at Hobbiton and Bywater. The rumor of the coming event traveled all over the Shire. The history and character of Mr. Bilbo Baggins became once again the chief topic of conversation, and the older folk suddenly found their reminiscences in welcome demand. No one had a more attentive audience than old Ham Gamgee, commonly known as the Gaffer. He held forth the Ivy Bush, a small inn on the Bywater Road, and he spoke with some authority, for he attended the garden at Bag End for 40 years and had helped old Holman in the same job before that. Now that he was himself growing old and stiff in the joints, the job was mainly carried on by his youngest son, Sam Gamgee. That's going to be wonderful later. Both father and son were on very friendly terms with Bilbo and Frodo. They lived on the hill itself, in number 3 Bagshot Row, just below Bag End. I do have to say, something I'm enjoying so far with actually reading the book versus watching the movies is just all the little details so far. Like, it's really descriptive about a lot of the characters that either didn't really have a screen presence or it just fleshes out so much more. And I think that's wonderful. A very nice, well spoken, gentle hobbit is Mr. Bilbo, as I've always said, the gaffer declared. With perfect truth, for Bilbo was very polite to him. Did I say Bagshots Road? No. Bagshot. B-A-G. Your biggest pet peeve about books is when they start describing a character 50 chapters after what you start imagining what they look like. I do. I do agree with that, Solar. Definitely had a few books do that one, and I'm like, oh, well, that was not the image I had, but alright, we'll adjust. But with perfect truth, for Bilbo was very, very polite to him, calling him Master Handfast and consulting him constantly upon the growing of vegetables in the matter of roots, especially potatoes. He's emo. Blonde hair, blue eyes, chalk build. That's not what I thought at all. I thought he was blonde hair, green eyes, and wore a nice suit. Just kidding. The gaffer was recognized as the leading authority by all in the neighborhood, including himself, on potatoes. But what about this Frodo that lives with him? Asked old Noakes of Bywater. Baggins is his name, but he's more than half a brandy buck, they say. It beats me why any Baggins of Hobbiton should go looking for a wife while they're in Buckland, where folks are so strange. And no wonder they're strange, put in Daddy Two-Foot, the gaffer's next-door neighbor. If they live on the wrong side of the Brandywine River and right again the old forest, that's a dark, bad place if half the tales are to be true. You're right, Dad, said the gaffer. Not the Brandybucks of Buckland live in the old forest, but they're a strange breed, seemingly. They fool about with boats on that big river, and that isn't natural. Small wonder that trouble came of it, I say. But be that as it may, Mr. Frodo is as nice a young hobbit as you could wish to meet. Very much like Mr. Bilbo, and in more than looks. After all, his father was a Baggins. There was never much to tell of him till he drowned. Drowned, said several voices. They had heard this and other darker rumors before, of course. But hobbits have a passion for family history, and they were ready to hear it again. Well, so they say, said the gaffer. You see, Mr. Drogo, he married poor Miss Primula Brandybuck. She was our Mr. Bilbo's first cousin on her mother's side, her mother being the youngest of Old Took's daughters, and Mr. Drogo was his second cousin, so Mr. Frodo is his first and second cousin, once removed either way, as the saying is, if you follow me. And Mr. Drogo was staying at Brandy Hall with his father-in-law, old Mr. Gorbadoc, as he often did after his marriage, him being partial to his victuals, and old Mr. Gorbadoc keeping a mighty generous table. And he went about boating on the Brandywine River, and he and his wife were drowned, and poor Mr. Frodo, only a child and all. I heard they went on the water after dinner in the moonlight, said old Noakes, and it was Drogo's weight has sunk the boat. And I heard she pushed him in, and he pulled her in after him, said Sandyman, the Hobbiton miller. You shouldn't listen to all you hear, Sandyman, said the gaffer, who did not much like the miller. The fact that they had to include a line like that in, it's like, listen, he doesn't like him very much. Ah, what fun writing. The Rizzler. I mean, hey. There isn't no call to go talking of pushing and pulling. Boats are quite tricky enough for those that sit still without looking further for the cause of trouble. Anyway, there was this Miss there was this Mr. Frodo left an orphan and stranded, as you might say, among those strange Bucklanders. Ancient Elder Wandstaff, eh? Good stuff. Might have to show me how you use it sometime. A regular Warren by all accounts. Old Mr. Gorbadoc never had fewer than a couple of hundred relations in place. Many uses? Ooh. Do tell. Old Mr. Gorbadoc never had fewer than a couple of hundred relations in place. Mr. Bilbo never did a kinder deed than when he brought the lad back to live among decent folk. Those sharp canines? What can I say? Except yes. No worries. Glad to have your attention, honestly. But I reckon it was a nasty knock for those Sackville Bagginses. They thought they were going to get Bag End that time when he went off and was thought to be dead. And then he comes back and orders them off. And he goes on living and living and never looking a day older, bless him. And suddenly he produces an heir and has all the papers made out proper. The Sackville Bagginses won't never see the inside of Bag End now, or it is to be hoped not. There's a tidy bit of money tucked away up there, I hear tell, said a stranger, a visitor on business, from Mickle Delving in West Farthing. All the top of your hill is full of tunnels packed with chests of gold and silver and jewels, by what I've heard. Again, you're all my treasure. Then you've heard more than I can speak to, answered the gaffer. Steal the money. We're rich. I'm down. I know nothing about jewels. Mr. Bilbo is free with his money, and there seems no lack of it. But I know of no tunnel making. I saw Mr. Bilbo when he came back, a matter of 60 years ago when I was a lad. I'd not long come pretense to old Holman, him being my dad's cousin. Chocolate truffles. Ooh. I look forward to being spoiled and spoiling you right back with more stories. Then tucking you to bed. But he had come up at Bag End, helping him to keep folks from trampling and trapezing all over the garden while the sale was on. And in the middle of it all, Mr. Bilbo comes up the hill with a pony and some mighty big bags and a couple of chests. I don't doubt they were mostly full of treasure he had picked up in foreign parts. Where there be mountains of gold, they say, but there wasn't enough to fill tunnels. But my lad Sam will know more about that. He's in and out of Bag End. Crazy about stories of the old days he is, and he listens to all of Mr. Bilbo's tales. Mr. Bilbo has learned him his letters, meaning no harm, mark you, and I hope no harm will come of it. Elves and dragons, I says to him. Cabbages and potatoes are better for me and you. Don't go getting mixed up in the business of your betters, or you'll land in trouble too big for you, I says to him. And I might say it to others, he added, with a look at the stranger and the miller. But the gaffer did not convince his audience. The legend of Bilbo's wealth was now too firmly fixed in the minds of the younger generations of hobbits. Ah, but he has likely enough been adding to what he's brought at first, argued the miller, voicing common opinion. He's often away from home, and look at all the outlandish folk that visit him, dwarves coming at night, and that old wandering conjurer, Gandalf and all. What can you say? You can say what you like, Gaffer. The Bag End's a strange place, and its folks are stranger. I also do have to say that I am changing the word that they use originally. Not because it has bad connotations these days, but originally it just meant weird or strange. So, just a added touch, I guess. And you can say what you like about what you know more no more of than you do of boating, Mr. Sandyman, retorted the gaffer, disliking the miller even more than usual. If that's being strange, then we could do with a bit more strangeness in these parts. There's some not far away that wouldn't offer a pint of beer to a friend if they lived in a hole or with golden walls. You are weird? You get fake because you don't get to hold my hand, aw? We'll probably have to fix that sometime soon then, won't we? Our Sam says that everyone's going to be invited to the party, and there's going to be presents, mark you, presents for all, this very month in, as is. That very month was September, and as fine as you could ask. A day or two later, a rumor, probably started by the knowledgeable Sam, was spread about that there were going to be the fireworks. Fireworks, what is more, such as had not been seen in the Shire for nigh on a century, not indeed since the old Took had died. Days passed and the day drew nearer. An odd-looking wagon laden with odd-looking packages rolled into Hobbiton one evening and toiled up the hill to Bag End. The startled hobbits peered out of the lamplit doors to gape at it. It was driven by outlandish folk, singing strange songs. Dwarves with long beards and deep hoods, and a few of them even remained at Bag End. At the end of the second week in September, a cart came in through Bywater from the direction of Brandywine Bridge in broad daylight. An old man was driving it all alone. He wore a tall, pointed blue hat, a long gray cloak, and a silver scarf. He had a long white beard and bushy eyebrows that stuck out beyond the brim of his hat. Those are some long eyebrows. Small hobbit children ran after the cart all through Hobbiton and right up the hill. It had a cargo of fireworks, as they rightly guessed. At Bilbo's front door, the old man began to unload. There were great bundles of fireworks of all sorts and shapes, each labeled with a large G and the elf rune that looks like a P. The other lovely thing about this book is that it does actually have the runic symbols written. Not that I can really show them, but you'll have to take my word. That was Gandalf's mark, of course, and the old man was Gandalf the Wizard, whose fame in the Shire was due mainly to his skill with fire, smokes, and lights. His real business was far more difficult and dangerous, but the Shire folk knew nothing about it. To them, it was just one of the attractions at the party. Hence the excitement of the hobbit children. Jeeve or grand, they shouted, and the old man smiled. They knew him by sight, though he only appeared in Hobbiton occasionally and never stopped long. But neither they nor any of the oldest of their elders had seen one of his firework displays. They now belonged to a legendary past. When the old man, helped by Bilbo and some dwarves, had finished unloading, Bilbo gave a few pennies away, but not a single squib or cracker was forthcoming, to the disappointment of the onlookers. "Run away now," said Gandalf. "You'll get plenty when the time comes." Then he disappeared inside with Bilbo, and the door was shut. The young hobbit stared at the door in vain for a while, and then made off, feeling that the day of the party would never come. You ever have that happen? You're just so excited for something coming up, waiting and waiting. Just feeling like that day's not coming, but your excitement grows more and more. Then it's almost a shock when the day finally arrives. Ah, what fun. Inside Bag End, Bilbo and Gandalf were sitting at the open window of a small room looking out west onto the garden. The late afternoon was bright and peaceful. The flowers glowed red and golden, snapdragons and sunflowers, and nasturtiums trailing all the turf walls, peeping in at the round windows. Man, I really love the descriptions of the hobbit houses. Gotta lurk for a little while? Doing Just Dance? Sounds good. Have fun, and I'll see you when you get back. It's okay. I know you're listening. "How bright your garden looks," said Gandalf. "Yes," said Bilbo. "I'm very fond indeed of it, and of all the dear old Shire. But I think I need a holiday." "You mean to go on with your plan, then?" "I do. I made up my mind months ago, and I haven't changed it." "Very well. It is no good saying any more. Stick to your plan, your whole plan, mind, and I hope it will turn out for the best, for you, and for all of us." "I hope so. Anyway, I mean to enjoy myself on Thursday and have my little joke." "Who will laugh, I wonder?" said Gandalf, shaking his head. "We shall see," said Bilbo. The next day, more carts rolled up the hill, and still more carts. There might have been some grumbling about dealing locally, but that very week, orders began to pour out of Bag End for every kind of provision, commodity, or luxury that could be obtained in Hobbiton or Bywater, or anywhere in the neighborhood. People became enthusiastic, and they began to tick off the days on the calendar, and they watched eagerly for the postman, hoping for an invitation. Before long, the invitations began pouring out, and the Hobbiton post office was blocked, and the Bywater post office was snowed under, and voluntary assistant postmen were called for. There was a constant stream of them going up the hill, carrying hundreds of polite variations of, "Thank you, I shall certainly come." A notice appeared on the gate of Bag End. No admittance, except on party business. Even those who had, or pretended to have party business, were seldom allowed inside. Bilbo was busy, writing invitations, ticking off answers, packing up presents, and making some private preparations of his own. From the time of Gandalf's arrival, he remained hidden from view. One morning, the hobbits woke to find the large field south of Bilbo's front door covered with ropes and poles for tents and pavilions. A special entrance was cut into the bank leading to the road, and wide steps and a large white gate were built there. The three hobbit families of Bagshot, mind you, adjoining the field, were intensely interested and generally envied. Old Gaffer Gamgee stopped even pretending to work in his garden. The tents began to go up. There was a especially large pavilion, so big that the tree that grew in the field was right inside it and stood proudly near one end, at the head of the chief table. Lanterns were hung on all its branches. More promising still, to the hobbit's mind, an enormous open-air kitchen was erected in the north corner of the field. A draught of cooks from every inn and eating house for miles around arrived to supplement the dwarves and other odd folk that were quartered at Bag End. Excitement rose to its height. Then, the weather clouded over. That was on Wednesday, the eve of the party. Anxiety was intense. Then Thursday, September the 22nd, actually dawned. The sun got up, the clouds vanished, flags were unfurled, and the fun began. Bilbo Baggins called it a party, but it was really a variety of entertainments rolled into one. Practically everybody living near was invited. A very few were overlooked by accident, but as they turned up all the same, that didn't matter. Many people from other parts of the Shire were also asked, and there were even a few from outside the borders. Bilbo met the guests and additions at the new White Gate in person. He gave away presents to all and sundry. The latter were those who went out again by way and back and came in again by the gate. Hobbits give presents to other people on their own birthdays. Not very expensive ones, as a rule, but not so lavishly on this occasion. But it was not a bad system. Actually, in Hobbiton and Bywater, every day in the year was somebody's birthday, so that every hobbit in those parts had a fair chance of at least one present at least once a week. But they never got tired of them. I wonder, what's the last present that you received that you really, really enjoyed? Honestly, I think for me, I received some games that I greatly enjoyed, but also one of my best friends had given me a new set of tarot cards, which I thought was very sweet and cool. Used them quite a bit that night when I got them, and I still have them behind me. And a coworker actually gave me a very practical gift, a little electric shaving razor. It was very nice to have. On this occasion, the presents were unusually good. The Hobbit children were so excited that for a while they almost forgot about eating. There were toys the likes of which they had never seen before. All beautiful and some obviously magical. Many of them had indeed been ordered a year before and had come all the way from the mountain and from Dale and were of real dwarf make. When every guest had been welcomed and was finally inside the gate, there were songs, dances, music, games, and of course, food and drink. There were 3 official meals: lunch, tea, and dinner, or supper. But lunch and tea were marked chiefly by the fact that at those times, all the guests were sitting down and eating together. At other times, there were merely lots of people eating and drinking, continuously from 11s to until 6:30 when the fireworks started. The fireworks were by Gandalf. They were not only brought by him, but designed and made by him, and the special effects, set pieces, and flights of rockets were let off by him. But there was also a generous distribution of squibs, crackers, bacca wrappers, sparklers, torches, dwarf candles, elf fountains, goblin barkers, and thunderclaps. They were all superb. The art of Gandalf improved with age. Same with me. There were rockets like a flight of scintillating birds singing with sweet voices. There were green trees with trunks of dark smoke, their leaves open like a whole spring unfolding in a moment, and then shining branches dropped glowing flowers down upon the astonished hobbits, disappearing with a sweet scent just before they touched their upturned faces. There were fountains of butterflies that flew glittering into the trees. There were pillars of colored fires that rose and turned into eagles, or sailing ships, or a phalanx of flying swans. There was a red thunderstorm and a shower of yellow rain. I don't know how I feel about that one, actually. There was a forest of silver spears that sprang suddenly into the air with a yell like an embattled army, and came down again into the water with a hiss like 100 hot snakes. There was also one last surprise in honor of Bilbo, and it startled the hobbits exceedingly, as Gandalf intended. The lights went out, a great smoke went up, it shaped itself like a mountain seen in the distance, and began to glow at the summit. It spouted green and scarlet flames. Out flew a red golden dragon, not life-size, but terribly lifelike. Fire came from his jaws, his eyes glared down. There was a roar, and he whizzed 3 times over the head of the crowd. They all ducked, and many fell flat on their faces. The dragon passed like an express train, turned a somersault, and burst over Bywater with a deafening explosion. "That is the signal for supper," said Bilbo. The pain and alarm vanished at once, and the prostrate hobbits leapt to their feet. There was a splendid supper for everyone. For everyone, that is. Weird how they wrote that. Except those invited to the special family dinner party. This was held in the great pavilion with the tree. The invitations were limited to 12 dozen, a number also called by hobbits 1 gross, though the word was not considered proper to use of people. And the guests were selected from all the families to which Bilbo and Frodo were related, such as Gandalf. Many young hobbits were included and present by parental permission, for hobbits were easygoing with their children in the matter of sitting up late, especially when there was a chance of getting them a free meal. Bringing up young hobbits took a lot of provender. It takes a village. There were many Bagginses and Boffins. There were also many Tooks and Brandybucks. There were various Grubs, relations of Bilbo Baggins's grandmother, and various Chubbs, connections of his Took's grandfather, and a selection of Burrowesses, Bolgers, Bracegirdles, Brockhouses, Goodbodies, Hornblowers, and Proudfoots. Some of these were only very distantly connected with Bilbo, and some had hardly ever been in Hobbiton before, as they lived in remote corners of the Shire. The Sackville Bagginses were not forgotten. Otho and his wife Lobelia were present. They disliked Bilbo and detested Frodo, But so magnificent was the invitation card, written in gold ink, that they had felt it was impossible to refuse. Besides, their cousin, Bilbo, had been specializing in food for many years, and his table had a high reputation. All the 144 guests expected a pleasant feast, though they rather dreaded the after dinner speech of their host, an inevitable item. He was liable to drag on in bits of what he called poetry, and sometimes, after a glass or two, would allude to the absurd adventures of his mysterious journey. The guests were not disappointed. They had a very pleasant feast. In fact, the engrossing entertainment, rich, abundant, varied, and prolonged. The purchase of provisions fell almost to nothing throughout the district in the ensuing weeks. Hi, Carmen. Nice paimon. For the ensuing weeks. But as Bilbo's catering had depleted the stocks of most of the stores, cellars, and warehouses for miles around, that did not matter much. After the feast, more or less, came the speech. Most of the company were, however, now in a tolerant mood, at that delightful stage which they called filling up the corners. They were sipping their favorite drinks and nibbling at their favorite dainties, and their fears were forgotten. They were prepared to listen to anything and to cheer at every stop. Yeah, I do have to say, that would be rather nice. Just to have a nice, tolerant, pleasant crowd. Oh, look at that. I do. I'll have to keep you fed, though, like a good little hobbit. My dear people, began Bilbo, rising in his place. Hear, 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 they shouted, and kept on repeating it in chorus, seeming reluctant to follow their own advice. Bilbo left his place and went and stood on a chair under the illuminated tree. The light of the lanterns fell on his beaming face. The golden buttons shone on his embroidered silk waistcoat. They could all see him standing, waving one hand in the air. The other was in his trouser pocket. My dear Bagginses and Boffins, he began again, and my dear Tooks and Brandybooks, and the Grubs, and the Chubs, and the Burrowises and Hornblowers, and Bulgers, Bracegirdles, Goodbodies, Brockhouses, and Proudfoots. Proud feet! Shouted an elderly hobbit from the back of the pavilion. His name, of course, was Proudfoot, and well merited. His feet were large, exceptionally furry, and both were on the table. Proudfoots, repeated Bilbo. Also my good Sackville Bagginses, that I welcome back at last to Bag End. Today is my 111th birthday. I am 11 today. Hooray, hooray! Many happy returns, they shouted, and they hammered joyously on the table. Bilbo was doing splendidly. This was the sort of stuff they liked, short and obvious. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves as much as I am. Deafening cheers, cries of yes and no, noises of trumpets and horns, pipes and flutes, and other musical instruments. They were, as has been said, many young hobbits present. Hundreds of musical crackers had been pulled. Most of them bore the mark Dale on them, which did not convey much to the hobbits, but they all agreed they were marvelous crackers. Let's see. They contained instruments small but of perfect make, and enchanting tones. Kinda like me. Just kidding. Indeed, in one corner, some of the young tooks and brandybucks, supposing Uncle Bilbo to have finished, since he had plainly said all that was necessary, now got up an impromptu orchestra and began a merry dance tune. Master Everard Took and Miss Melio Brandybuck got on the table with bells in their hands, began to dance the Springle Ring, a pretty dance, but rather vigorous. But Bilbo had not finished. Seizing a horn from a youngster nearby, he blew 3 loud hoots. The noise subsided. "I shall not keep you long," he cried. Cheers from all of the assembly. "I have called you all together for a purpose." Something in the way that he said this made an impression. There was almost silence. 1 or 2 of the tooks pricked up their ears. Totally random and not suspicious question. What color Pikmin is my favorite? Goodness, there are a lot of variety of them. Let's see. Types of Pikmin. There's a lot of cute ones. The red are standard, the yellow are very cute with their little ears. The blue have silly little faces with no noses. The purple Pikmins, chonky lads. The white ones look like little aliens. Rocks, the ice, the winged. You know what? I think that my favorite, I like the glow Pikmin. They're cute and green. Kind of suspiciously ghosty, too. I think in second place would be yellow. You're welcome, Solariaki. Well, I guess we'll see what this totally random and not suspicious at all question will lead to. Indeed, for 3 purposes. First of all, totally not suspicious? All right, I'm trusting you. First of all, to tell you that I am immensely fond of you all, and that 11 years is too short a time to live amongst such excellent and admirable hobbits. Tremendous outbursts of approval. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you as half as well as you deserve. This was unexpected and rather difficult. There was some scattered clapping, but most of them were trying to work it out and see if it came as a compliment. Secondly, to celebrate my birthday, cheers again. I should say our birthday, for it is, of course, also the birthday of my heir and nephew, Frodo. He comes of age and into his inheritance today. Some perfunctory clapping by the elders, and some loud shouts of "Frodo, Frodo, jolly old Frodo" from the juniors. The Sackville Bagginses scowled and wondered what was meant by coming into his inheritance. Together, we score 144. Your numbers were chosen to fit this remarkable total, 1 gross. If I may use the expression, no cheers. This was ridiculous. Many of the guests, and especially the Sackville Bagginses, were insulted, feeling sure they had only been asked to fill up the required number, like goods in a package. 1 gross indeed. Vulgar expression. It is also, if I may be allowed to refer to ancient history, the anniversary of my arrival by barrel at Esgaroth on the Long Lake, though the fact that it was my birthday slipped my memory on that occasion. I was only 51 then, and birthdays did not seem so important. The banquet was very splendid, however, though I had a bad cold at the time. I remember I could only say, "Thank you very much." I now repeat it more correctly. "Thank you very much for coming to my little party." Obstinate silence. They all feared that a song or some poetry was now imminent, and they were getting bored. Why couldn't he stop talking and let them drink to his health? But Bilbo did not sing or recite. He paused for a moment. Fairy Princess Tea Party? Ooh. That sounds like it would be a lot of fun to attend. Maybe get some elves there too. Tell me, what is your favorite fantasy creature? Cryptids count too. All except Mothman, who is most definitely real. Thirdly and finally, he said, "I wish to make an announcement." He spoke this last word so loudly and suddenly that everyone sat up who could. I regret to announce that, though as I said, 11 years is far too short a time to spend among you, this is the end. I am going. I am leaving now. Goodbye. He stepped down and vanished. There was a blinding flash of light, and all the guests blinked. When they opened their eyes, Bilbo was nowhere to be seen. 144 flabbergasted hobbits sat back speechless. Old Odo Proudfoot removed his feet from the table and stamped. Then there was a dead silence, until suddenly, after several deep breaths, every Baggins, Boffin, Took, Brandybuck, Grubb, Chubb, Burrows, Bulger, Bracegirdle, Brockhouse, Goodbody, Hornblower, and Proudfoot began to talk at once. Selkies or basilisks, ooh. Uncommon choices, but definitely fantastic. Good taste, Solariaki. It was generally agreed. Agreed. It was generally agreed that the joke was in very bad taste, and more food and drink were needed to cure the guests of shock and annoyance. He's mad. I always said so. You'd hope you have good tastes, otherwise you wouldn't have found me. Once again, very, very sweet. I have a feeling we're going to get along just fine. He's mad. I always said so was probably the most popular comment. Even the Tooks, with a few exceptions, thought Bilbo's behavior was absurd. For the moment, most of them took it for granted that his disappearance was nothing more than a ridiculous prank. But old Rory Brandybuck was not so sure. Neither age nor an enormous dinner had clouded his wits, and he said to his daughter-in-law Esmeralda, "Something fishy's in this, my dear. I believe that Mad Baggins is off again. Silly old fool. But why worry? He hasn't taken the victuals with him," he called loudly to Frodo to send the wine round again. Frodo was the only one present who had said nothing. For some time he sat silent beside Bilbo's empty chair and ignored all remarks and questions. He had enjoyed the joke. Of course, even though he had been in the know, he had difficulty in keeping from laughter at the indignant surprise of the guests, but at the same time he felt deeply troubled. He realized suddenly that he loved the old hobbit dearly. Most of the guests went on drinking and eating and discussing Bilbo Baggins's oddities, past and present. But the Sackville Bagginses had already departed in wrath. Frodo did not want to have any more to do with the party. He gave orders for more wine to be served. Then he got up and drained his own glass silently to the health of Bilbo and slipped out of the pavilion. Ah, all right. I find myself getting a little parched, so gonna take a small break, drink some water, and then I'll be right back. Oh no, almost pressed a silly button. Thank you for the follow, Solariaki. Can't wait to see you for many, many more streams. But for now, be right back. I won't be long. Promise. Woe is you! The night is cold, and the moon shares your loneliness. But the night is young, and I have returned, and thus we shall continue. Hey, just had to get some water. It is very important to stay hydrated after all. Wouldn't want to damage the goods. And so we continue with Chapter 1. You're adorable. As for Bilbo Baggins, Even while he was making his speech, he had been fingering the gold ring in his pocket, his magic ring that he had kept secret for so many years. Hydration is key, I agree. Water is so very important. Honestly, obviously you can't live without it, but I do enjoy drinking it a whole lot. Do you have a favorite drink? Maybe a type of tea, perhaps? I've been trying to stay away from sodas and such lately. Anything that's really carbonated or or really gunks up the throat. Milk does that too. But he had been fingering the golden ring in his pocket, his magic ring that he had kept secret for so many years. As he stepped down, he slipped it on his finger, and he was never seen by any hobbit in Hobbiton ever again. He walked briskly back to his hole and stood for a moment listening with a smile to the din in the pavilion and to the sounds of merrymaking in other parts of the field. Chamomile tea with honey? Ooh, lovely choice. There is another tea you also enjoy, but it's rather weird process-wise to others' tastes. I'm curious. I definitely would like to know what type of tea that is. But I definitely do love chamomile with honey. And a nice mint tea. Although, mint tea and I do have a bit of a history, so to say. I can tell you about that story later. Once we finish chapter 1. Then he went in. He took off his party clothes, folded up and wrapped in tissue paper his embroidered silk waistcoat, and put it away. Then he put on quickly some old, untidy garments and fastened round his waist a worn leather belt. On it he hung a short sword in a battered black-leathered scabbard. From a locked drawer, smelling of mothballs, he took out an old cloak and hood. They had been locked up as if they were very precious, but they were also so patched and weather-stained that their original color could hardly be guessed. It might have been dark green. They were rather too large for him. He then went into a study, and from a large strong box, he took out an old bundle wrapped in old cloths, and a leather-bound manuscript. Let's see, if you boil some water with a half-spoon of oregano, 2 cloves of garlic, a piece of onion, and a stick of cinnamon. Once it's done, you pour some honey and a wedge of lime and mix to taste. Mainly used for colds and sore throats, but a somewhat good sour tea that you enjoy a lot. Definitely interesting. And a nice, easy recipe to follow. I think my family does something similar too, combining garlic and honey and a lot of other strange things together, but they just drink it down rather than make it a tea. It's difficult, but very, very effective. So maybe I'd like the tea form better. Especially since it's good to help with sore throats. I might get one later. Let's see. The large strong box took out a bundle wrapped in old cloths, and a leather-bound manuscript, and also a large bulky envelope. The book and bundle he stuffed into the top of a heavy bag that was standing there already nearly full. Strange ingredients, but it does work wonders. I can believe it. There are so many weird and strange properties to the things that we eat and enjoy. Lots of home recipes. that sometimes work better than all the pills that we take every now and then. Good stuff. Let's see. Into the envelope, he slipped his golden ring and its fine chain, and then sealed it and addressed it to Frodo. At first, he put it on the mantelpiece, but suddenly he removed it and stuck it into his pocket. At that moment, the door opened and Gandalf came quickly in. "Hello," said Bilbo. "I wondered if you would turn up." "I'm glad to find you visible," replied the wizard, sitting down in a chair. "I wanted to catch you and have a few final words. I suppose you feel that everything has gone off splendidly and according to plan." "Yes, I do," said Bilbo. "Though that flash was surprising. It quite startled me, let alone the others. A little addition of your own, I suppose." "It was. You have wisely kept that ring secret all these years, and it seemed to me necessary to give your guests something else that would seem to explain your sudden vanishment. And would spoil my joke. You are an interesting old busybody," laughed Bilbo, "but I expect you know best, as usual." "I do, when I know anything. But I don't feel too sure about this whole affair. It has now come to the final point. You have had your joke, and alarmed or offended most of your relations, and have given the whole Shire something to talk about for 9 days, or 99 more likely. Are you going to go any further?" "Yes, I am. I feel like I need a holiday. A very long holiday. As I have told you before, probably a permanent holiday. I don't expect I shall return. In fact, I don't mean to, and I have made all arrangements." I feel that, though. Boy, I sure could go for a vacation. Although, I do say vacation, but I would be spending it here with you. Wouldn't that be fun? Just all the time in the world together. "I am old, Gandalf. I don't look it, but I'm beginning to feel it in my heart of hearts." "Well preserved indeed," he snorted. "Why, I feel all thin, sort of stretched, if you know what I mean, like butter that has been scraped over too much bread. That can't be right. I need a change or something." Gandalf looked curiously and closely at him. "No, it does not seem right," he said thoughtfully. "No, after all, I believe your plan is probably best. The amount of Legos we could build in that time. So true. All the Lego sets, all the custom builds. We will have our Lego city." "Well, I've made up my mind anyway. I want to see the mountains again, Gandalf. Mountains. And then find somewhere where I can rest. In peace and quiet, without a lot of relatives prying around, and a string of confounded visitors hanging on the bell. I might find somewhere where I can finish my book. I have thought of a nice ending for it. And he lived happily ever after to the end of his days." Gandalf laughed. "I hope he will. But nobody will read the book however it ends. Oh, they may, in years to come. Frodo has read some already, as far as it has gone. You'll keep an eye on Frodo, won't you?" "Yes, I will. 2 eyes, as often as I can spare them." "He would come with me, of course, if I asked him. In fact, he offered to once, just before the party. But he does not really want to, yet. I want to see the wild country again before I die, and the mountains, but he is still in love with the Shire. The woods and the fields and little rivers. He ought to be comfortable here. and I'm leaving everything to him. Lost my spot. Of course, except a few oddments. I hope he will be happy when he gets used to being on his own. It's time he was his own master now. Everything, said Gandalf. The ring as well. You agreed to that, you remember? Well, yes, I suppose so, stammered Bilbo. Where is it? In an envelope, if you must know, said Bilbo impatiently. There on the mantelpiece. Well, no, here it is in my pocket. He hesitated. Isn't that odd now? He said softly to himself. Yet after all, why not? Why shouldn't it stay there? Gandalf looked again very hard at Bilbo. There was a gleam in his eyes. I think, Bilbo, he said quietly, I should leave it behind. Don't you want to? Well, yes and no. Now it comes to it, I don't like parting with it at all, I may say. And I don't really see why I should. Why do you want me to? He asked, and a curious change came over his voice. It was sharp, with suspicion and annoyance. You are always badgering me about my ring, but you have never bothered me about the other things that I got on my journey. No, but I had to badger you, said Gandalf. I wanted the truth. It was important. Magic rings are, well, magical. And they are rare and curious. I was professionally interested in your ring, you may say, and I still am. I should like to know where it is, and if you go wandering again. Also, I think you have had it quite long enough. You won't need it anymore, Bilbo, unless I am quite mistaken. Bilbo flushed. There was an angry light in his eyes. His kindly face grew hard. Why not? He cried. And what business is it of yours anyway? To know what I do with my own things. It is my own. I found it. It came to me. Yes, yes, said Gandalf, but there is no need to get angry. If I am, it is your fault, said Bilbo. It is mine, I tell you. My own. My precious. Yes, my precious. The wizard's face remained grave and attentive, and only a flicker in his deep eyes showed that he was startled and indeed alarmed. It has been called that before, but not by you, he said. But I say it now, and why not? Even if Gollum said the same once, it was not his but mine, and I shall keep it, I say. Gandalf stood up. He spoke sternly. You will be a fool if you do, Bilbo. You make that clearer with every word you say. It has got far too much hold over you. Let it go, and then you can go yourself and be free. I'll do as I choose and go as I please, said Bilbo obstinately. Now, my dear hobbit, said Gandalf. All your long life we have been friends, and you owe me something. Come, do as you promised, and give it up. Well, if you want the ring yourself, say so, cried Bilbo. But you won't get it. I won't give my precious away, I tell you. His hand strayed to the hilt of his small sword. Gandalf's eyes flashed. It will be my turn to get angry soon, he said. If you say that again, I shall. Then you will see Gandalf the Grey uncloaked. He took a step towards the hobbit, and he seemed to grow tall and menacing. His shadow filled the little room. Bilbo backed away to the wall, breathing hard, his hand clutching at his pocket. They stood for a while facing one another, and the air in the room tingled. Gandalf's eyes remained bent on the hobbit. Slowly, his hand relaxed, and he began to tremble. I don't know what has come over you, Gandalf, he said. You've never been like this before. What is it all about? It is mine, isn't it? I found it, and Gollum would have killed me if I hadn't kept it. I'm not a thief, whatever he said. I never called you one, Gandalf answered, and I am not one either. I'm not trying to rob you, but to help you. I wish you would trust me, as you used to. He turned away, and the shadow passed. He seemed to dwindle again into an old gray man, bent and troubled. Bilbo drew his hand over his eyes. I'm sorry, he said, but I felt so strange. And yet, it would be a relief in a way not to be bothered with it anymore. It has been so growing on my mind lately. Sometimes, I have felt it was like an eye looking at me, and I am always wanting to put it on and disappear. Don't you know, or wondering if it is safe and pulling it out just to make sure. I tried locking it up, but I found I couldn't rest without it in my pocket. I don't know why, and I don't seem to be able to make up my mind. Then trust mine, said Gandalf. It is quite made up. Go away and leave it behind. Stop possessing it. Give it to Frodo, and I will look after him. Bilbo stood for a moment, tense and undecided. Presently he sighed. All right, he said with an effort. I will. Then he shrugged his shoulders and smiled rather ruefully. After all, that's what this party business was all about, really. To give away lots of birthday presents, and somehow make it easier to give it away at the same time. It hasn't made it any easier in the end, but it would be a pity to waste all my preparations. It would spoil the joke. Indeed, it would take away the only point I ever saw in the affair, said Gandalf. Very well, said Bilbo. It goes to Frodo with all the rest. He drew a deep breath. And now, I really must be starting, or somebody else will catch me. I have said goodbye, and I couldn't bear to do it all over again. He picked up his bag and moved to the door. You've still got the ring in your pocket, said the wizard. Well, so I have, cried Bilbo, and my will and all the other documents too. But better take it and deliver it for me. That will be safest. No, don't give the ring to me, said Gandalf. Put it on the mantelpiece, and it will be safe enough there till Frodo comes. I shall wait for him. Bilbo took out the envelope, but just as he was about to set it by the clock, his hand jerked back, and the packet fell on the floor. Before he could pick it up, the wizard stooped and seized it and set it in its place. A spasm of anger passed swiftly over the hobbit's face again. Suddenly, it gave way to a look of relief and a laugh. Well, that's that, he said. Now I'm off. They went out into the hall. Bilbo chose his favorite stick from the stand then he whistled. 3 dwarves came out of different rooms where they had been busy. Is everything ready? Asked Bilbo. Everything packed and labeled? Everything, they answered. Well, let's start. He stepped out of the front door. It was a fine night, and the black sky was dotted with stars. He looked up, sniffing the air. What fun! What fun to be off again. Off on the road with dwarves. This is what I have really been longing for years. Goodbye, he said, looking at his old home and bowing at the door. Goodbye, Gandalf. Goodbye for the present, Bilbo. Take care of yourself. You're old enough and perhaps wise enough. Take care. I don't care. Don't worry about me. I am as happy now as I have ever been, and that is saying a great deal. But the time has come. I am being swept off my feet at last, he added. And then, in a low voice, as if to himself, he sang softly in the dark. And I do relate quite a bit with Bilbo, at least in this part right there. Sometimes, when life seems so stressful and full, I think to all the journeys that I used to have, traveling a bit around the world, at least to different countries, even to different states, even. They're all so different and wild, and all the strange and crazy things that have happened. And I get filled with a wanderlust, and that desire for adventure. Whether it's going to an airport or going to a convention, just that electric energy, the excitement that everybody has, or even just seeing gorgeous sights, hitting the road, it's so intoxicating. I am filled with determination. I haven't played Undertale in a long time. A good game. Someday I'll play Deltarune. Somehow I've still remained spoiler free after all this time. Maybe a few memes here and there, but I consider myself pretty lucky on that front. Have you ever had a favorite journey? The fondest memories of just a trip you took? Whether near or far, just something fun that you really, really enjoyed. I think for me, I tell this one a whole lot, but it was still that trip to Mexico. That beach was so gorgeous. I had never experienced warm ocean water before. Like, I had gone to lots of beaches, but they were always so freezing cold. And to just dip my feet in, just experience warmth just enveloping my whole body, at the ocean no less, was so nice. Every time your family and you went to an amusement park when you were a child, enjoyed going on rides with your parents and siblings. That's wonderful. We should go to an amusement park sometime. Maybe relive those memories. I do love a good amusement park myself. Do you have a favorite one? Or a favorite ride? It's not the best by any means, but I still hold so many memories of going to Disneyland. As you know, growing up in California, so many times having gone, but I loved Indiana Jones, Space Mountain, and just riding the train. You enjoy the droppers that went all the way up and then fell? Ooh. I have learned that I do not like those rides. I have a very bad fear of heights. Ups and downs are not for me. It needs an all around for me to like it. That reminds me of when I went to the Hoover Dam. About halfway through, I looked down. Don't worry, you'll hold my hand? Thank you. That's very, very comforting and will help a lot. But I do love a good trip. A good amusement park, the ambience, fun. I can't wait to make many more memories. while looking back at the old ones. He paused, silent for a moment. Then, without another word, he turned away from the lights and voices in the field and the tents, and followed by his three companions, went round into his garden and trotted down the long sloping path. He jumped over a low place in the hedge at the bottom and took to the meadows, passing into the night like a rustle of leaf, a rustle of wind in the grass. I'm not sure how I read leaf from there. Gandalf remained for a while, staring after him into the darkness. "Goodbye, my dear Bilbo. Until our next meeting," he said softly, and went back indoors. Frodo came in soon afterwards and found him sitting in the dark, deep in thought. "Has he gone?" he asked. "Yes," answered Gandalf. "He has gone at last." I hoped until this evening that it was only a joke," said Frodo. "I knew in my heart that he was really meant to go. He always used to joke about serious things. I wish I had come back sooner, just to see him off." "I think he really preferred slipping off quietly in the end," said Gandalf. "Don't be too troubled. He'll be all right now. He'll be all right. Now, he left a packet for you. There it is." Frodo took the envelope from the mantelpiece and glanced at it, but did not open it. "You will find his will and all the other documents in there, I think," said the wizard. "You are the master of Bag End now. And also, I fancy, you'll find a golden ring." "The ring!" exclaimed Frodo. "Has he left me that? I wonder why. Still, it may be useful." "It may, and it may not," said Gandalf. "I should not make use of it if I were you, but keep it secret and keep it safe. Now, I am going to bed." "Don't worry. Soon I'll put you guys to bed too. In about maybe a good 25 minutes or so. We'll get you nice and tucked in, good and cozy." As I do plan to use the other microphone for nice, binaural audio. I hope you enjoy when that happens. As the master of Bag End, Frodo felt it his painful duty to say goodbye to the guests. Rumors of strange events had now spread all over the field, but Frodo would only say, "No doubt everything will be cleared up in the morning." About midnight, carriages came for the important folk. One by one they rolled away, filled with full but very unsatisfied hobbits. Gardeners came by arrangement and removed in wheelbarrows those that had inadvertently remained behind. Night slowly passed. The sun rose. The hobbits rose rather later. Morning went on. People came and began by orders to clear away the pavilions and the tables and the chairs and the spoons and the knives and bottles and plates and the lanterns and the flowering shrubs and boxes and the crumbs and cracker paper, the forgotten bags and gloves and handkerchiefs, and the uneaten food, a very small item. Then a number of other people came without orders, Bagginses and Boffins and Bulgars and Tooks, and other guests that lived or were staying near. By midday, when even the best fed were out and about again, there was a large crowd at Bag End, uninvited, but not unexpected. Frodo was waiting on the step, smiling, but looking rather tired and worried. He welcomed all the callers, but he had not much more to say than before. His reply to all inquiries was simply this: Mr. Bilbo Baggins has gone away, as far as I know, for good. Some of the visitors he invited to come inside, as Bilbo had left messages for them. Inside the hall, there was a large, piled assortment of packages and parcels and small articles of furniture. On every item, there was a label tied. There were several labels of this sort. For Adelar took, for his very own, from Bilbo, on an umbrella. Adelard had carried off many unlabeled ones. That's mean. For Dora Baggins, in memory of a long correspondence, with love from Bilbo, on a large waste paper basket. Dora was Drogo's sister, and the eldest surviving female relative of Bilbo and Frodo's. She was 99, and had written reams of good advice for more than half a century. For Milo Burrows, hoping it will be useful, from BB, on a gold pen and ink bottle. Milo never answered letters. For Angelica's use, from Uncle Bilbo, on a round, convex mirror. She was a young Baggins, and too obviously considered her face shapely. For the collection of Hugo Bracegirdle, from a contributor, on an empty bookcase. Hugo was a great borrower of books, and worse than usual at returning them. These are some very pointed gifts. Or Lobelia Sackville Baggins as a present on a case of silver spoons. Bilbo believed that she had acquired a good many of his spoons. While he was away on his former journey, Lobelia knew that quite well. When she arrived later in that day, she took the point at once, but she also took the spoons. This is only a small selection of the assembled presents. Bilbo's residence had got rather cluttered up with things in the course of his long life. It was a tendency of hobbit holes to get cluttered up, for which was the custom of giving so many birthday presents was largely responsible. Not, of course, that the birthday presents were always new. There were one or two old mathams of forgotten uses that had circulated all around the district, but Bilbo had usually given new presents, and kept those that he received. The old hole was now being cleared a little. Every one of the various parting gifts had labels written out personally by Bilbo, and several had some point or some joke. But of course, most of the things were given where they would be wanted and welcome. Like you guys here at this stream. I'll always be glad to have you. The poorer hobbits, and especially those of Bag-Shot Row, that is bag-shot, like a plastic bag, sailing through the wind, did very well. Old Gaffer Gamgee got 2 sacks of potatoes, a new spade, a woolen waistcoat. It's always nice when I can call things out like that. 2 sacks of potatoes, a new spade, a woolen waistcoat, and a bottle of ointment for creaking joints. Old Rory Brandybuck, in return for much hospitality, got a dozen bottles of old Wynyards, a strong red wine from the South Farthing, and now quite mature, as it had been laid down by Bilbo's father. Rory quite forgave Bilbo, and voted him a capital fellow after the first bottle. There was plenty of everything for Frodo, left for Frodo, and of course, all the chief treasures, as well as the books, pictures, and more than enough furniture were left in his possession. There was, however, No sign nor mention of money or jewelry. Not a penny piece or a glass bead was given away. Frodo had a very trying time that afternoon. A false rumor that had the whole household, the whole, sorry, a false rumor that the whole household was being distributed free spread like wildfire, and before long the place was packed with people who had no business there but could not be kept out. Labels got torn off and mixed, and quarrels broke out. Some people tried to do swaps and deals in the hall, and others tried to make off with minor items not addressed to them, or with anything that seemed unwanted or unwatched. Oh no. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba. Habata. Habata-bagata. We love old videos. Ah. Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. Ah. Ah. Is that what I should do when I put you to bed? just quote that. One into each ear. I'll do it to be funny later. Cassie was some dog ASMR when? 15-ish minutes. The road to the gate was blocked with barrows and handcarts. In the middle of the commotion, the Sackville Bagginses arrived. Frodo had retired for a while and left his friend Merry Brandybuck to keep an eye on things. When Otho loudly demanded to see Frodo, Merry bowed politely. "He is indisposed," he said. "He's resting." "Hiding, you mean," said Lobelia. "Anyway, we want to see him, and we mean to see him. Just go and tell him so." Merry left them a long while in the hall, and they had time to discover their parting gifts of spoons. It did not improve their tempers. Eventually, they were shown into the study. Frodo was sitting at a table with a lot of papers in front of him. He looked indisposed, to see Sackville Bagginses at any rate, and he stood up, fidgeting with something in his pocket, but he spoke quite politely. The Sackville Bagginses were rather offensive. They began by offering him bad bargain prices, as between friends, for various valuable and unlabeled things. When Frodo replied that only the things specially directed by Bilbo were being given away, they said the whole affair was very fishy. "Only one thing is clear to me," said Otho, "and that is that you are doing exceedingly well out of it. I insist on seeing the will." Otho would have been Bilbo's heir, but for the adoption of Frodo. He read the will carefully and snorted. It was, unfortunately, very clear and correct, according to the legal customs of hobbits, which demand, among other things, 7 signatures and witnesses in red ink. "Foiled again," he said to his wife, "and after waiting 60 years, spoons? Fiddlesticks." I might use fiddlesticks. Just randomly. Ah, fiddlesticks. He snapped his fingers under Frodo's nose and stumped off. But Lobelia was not so easily got rid of. A little later, Frodo came out of the study to see how things were going on. And, well, shucks. And found her still about the place, investigating nooks and corners and tapping the floors. He escorted her firmly off the premises, after he had relieved her of several small but rather valuable articles that had somehow fallen inside her umbrella. Her face looked as if she was in the throes of thinking out a really crushing parting remark, but all she found to say, turning round the step, was, "You'll live to regret it, young fellow. Why didn't you go too? You don't belong here. You're no Baggins. You're a brandy buck." "Did you hear that, Mary?" "That was an insult, if you like," said Frodo as he shut the door on her. "It was a compliment," said Mary Brandybuck, "and so, of course, not true." Goodness, how much do I have? Oh, we're almost there. "They did. What an evil, evil woman hobbit. So rude. Bringing out families. The adoption is legal, and thus the change of form is complete." Then they went round the hole and evicted 3 young hobbits, 2 boffins and a bulger, who were knocking holes in the walls of one of the cellars. Frodo also had a tussle with young Sancho Proudfoot, old Hodo Proudfoot's grandson, who had begun an excavation in the larger pantry, where he thought there was an echo. The legend of Bilbo's gold excited both curiosity and hope for legendary gold, mysteriously obtained, if not positively ill-gotten, is, as everyone knows, anyone's for the finding, unless the search is interrupted. When he had overcome Sancho and pushed him out, Frodo collapsed on a chair in the hall. "It's time to close up shop, Mary," he said. "Lock the door and don't open it to anyone today, not even if they bring a battering ram." Then he went to revive himself with a belated cup of tea. Maybe he's using your recipe, Solariaki. He had hardly sat down when there came a soft knock at the front door. Lobelia again, most likely, he thought. She must have thought of something really nasty and have come back again to say it. It can wait. He went on with his tea. The knock was repeated, much louder, but he took no notice. Suddenly, the wizard's head appeared at the window. "If you don't let me in, Frodo, I shall blow your door right down your hole and out through the hill," he said. "My dear Gandalf, half a minute," cried Frodo, running out of the room to the door. Come in, come in. I thought it was Lobelia." "Then I forgive you. But I saw her some time ago driving a pony trap towards Bywater with a face that could have curdled new milk." She had already curdled me. Honestly, I nearly tried on Bilbo's ring. I longed to disappear. "Hello there, Luxie. Thank you for that follow, and welcome in. We're just finishing up this first chapter of The Fellowship of the Ring, and then I'm gonna be putting you all to bed. So, get nice and comfy, and welcome in." "Don't do that," said Gandalf, sitting down. "Do be careful of that ring, Frodo. In fact, it is partly about that I've come to have to say the last word." "Well, what about it?" "What do you know already?" "Only what Bilbo told me. I have heard his story, how he found it, and how he used it. On his journey, I mean." "Which story, I wonder?" said Gandalf. "Oh, not what he told the dwarves and put in his book," said Frodo. "He told me the true story soon after I came to live here. He said you had pestered him until he told you, so I had better know too. No secrets between us, Frodo," he said. "But they're not going to go any further. It's mine, anyway." "That's interesting," said Gandalf. "Well, what did you think of it all? If you mean inventing all that about a present, well, I thought the true story much more likely, and I couldn't see the point of altering it at all. It was very unlike Bilbo to do so, anyway, and I thought it was rather odd." "So did I. But odd things may happen to people that have such treasures if they use them. Let it be a warning to you to be very careful with it. It may have other powers too than just making you vanish when you wish to. I don't understand, said Frodo. Neither do I, answered the wizard. I have merely begun to wonder about the ring, especially since last night. No need to worry, but if you take my advice, you will use it very seldom, or not at all. At least I beg you not to use it in any way that will cause talk or rouse suspicion. I say it again. Keep it secret, and keep it safe. You are very mysterious. What are you afraid of? I'm not certain, so I will say no more. I may be able to tell you something when I come back. I'm going off at once, so this is a goodbye for the present. He got up. At once? Cried Frodo. Why, I thought you were staying on for at least a week. I was looking forward to your help. I did mean to, but I've had to change my mind. I may be away for a good while, but I'll come to see you again, as soon as I can. Expect me when you see me. I shall slip in quietly. I shan't often be visiting the Shire openly again. I find that I've become rather unpopular. They say I'm a nuisance and a disturber of the peace. Some people are actually accusing me of spiriting Bilbo away, or worse. If you want to know, there is supposed to be a plot between you and me to get a hold of his wealth. Some people, exclaimed Frodo. You mean Otho and Lobelia? How abominable. I would give them Bag End and everything else if I could get Bilbo back and go off tramping in the country with him. I love the Shire, but I begin to wish somehow that I had gone too. I wonder if I shall ever see him again. So do I, said Gandalf, and I wonder many other things. Goodbye now. Take care of yourself. Look out for me, especially at unlikely times. Goodbye. Hey, Carmen. Frodo saw him to the door. He gave a final wave of his hand and walked off at a surprising pace. But Frodo thought the old wizard looked unusually bent, almost as if he was carrying a great weight. The evening was closing in, and his cloaked figure quickly vanished into the twilight. Frodo did not see him again for a long time. And that right there was Chapter 1. Honestly, that was pretty good timing, if I do say so myself. Now we can get ready to tuck you in after that nice, lovely bedtime story. Don't worry, I'll take care of you guys. After all, it's been a long and busy day, full of hard work, imagination, and art. But of course, some preparations are needed. So I'll leave you all at the BRB screen, and when I make it back, different microphone, binaural audio, and of course, some nice, lovely relaxation. Be right back. to see you. Make sure to tell me if this is okay. Let's go ahead and get you all to bed so we can relax and be ready for tomorrow. It's been a long day, hasn't it? But I'm glad to spend the last bit of it with you. And make sure to tell me if there's anything you want to hear. And I will do my best to make it happen. Whether now or in the future. Those emotes are very, very cute, Carmen. Bangaboo. Feel free to tell me about your day as you relax and drift off. I'm very, very proud of everything you guys do. You are all amazing and incredible. There. Now. Wipe those tears away. And just look forward to tomorrow. Although, I guess it's fine if they're happy tears. Shh. Yes, even if it's yaoi smut, I'm still proud of you, Carmen. You write what makes you happy, and I'll be proud. Reading it is an entirely different story, though. Shh. I love the sound of rain. So real of me. I would hope so. I just want to say thank you all so much for being here. This is only technically my second day streaming, and you've all made it such a great time. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. That's a cool cat. Just trying to find a way to ease your day a bit more. I'm doing good. That's good. I worry about that a whole lot. Don't wanna scare people off or make them feel weird. But I just want to make sure that everyone has a good time and is happy. That's all I ever want. So, tell me, Carmen, what is your favorite fanfic that you've written? If you'd like to share, of course. It's okay. I'm sure you'll find some fans as well. Self-cessed, I see. So tell me, which one would win? Someday I'll take the time to watch Jujutsu Kaisen. Man, that sure is a lot of oil. Do you know the kind of oil? You're silly. I love crude oil. I love crude oil. The black stuff you find in barrels. I love crude oil. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't. Oh yeah, I forgot. Listen, I'm cool. I'm hip. Ba. Hapa. Hapa tapakata. Habawa. Ba. Oh yeah, there's still gold in them there hills. Doesn't matter how long ago the old meme was excavated. That vein will never run dry. It's been a long day. And I know you're all working hard. And I think that's awesome. Tell me, have you all eaten? Make sure you stay hydrated as well. That's very, very important. I see that cool cat. That better be a yes. Remember, it's cool to hydrate. Very, very cool. I think I enjoy the pumps the most, but that's because Popcat is great. to say, when it comes to this part of using the binaural audio, I still feel a little lackluster. So just remember, let me know what you want to hear. This is what happens, I'm doing this. We love a little quirky person, right? Little quirkiness in our lives makes it all the better. Sounds good. I wonder, is it hot or is it cold where you're at? For me, it's strange, as it is both. It's cold outside, but in here, it's the hottest room. So it doesn't mean much. How'd it go, Carmen? Don't answer that. Remember, we're just here to relax after a long, long day full of fun and excitement and tedium and boredom, full of work and pain. All of that can take a rest for tonight. Together with me. Relax and rest easy, so we can take care of it better tomorrow. Something I'd love to do is something that sort of emulates stroking your hair. That's usually very, very relaxing. I'll have to look into a way on how to do that. I'm thinking that might be nice. Very, very nice. Trying and experimenting new things. So let me know what you think works. If you enjoy the whispering, or if you'd prefer the normal stories, maybe both work, who knows? I just want to do right by you. So don't be shy, but also just feel free to enjoy whatever is the most comfortable. That's what I'm here for. A silly little sketch. Ooh. You've definitely piqued my curiosity. I have to say, I'm a little excited now. Never had anything like that happen before. I hope you were listening earlier to the good old dog of wisdom. Hapatapakata. This has been a fantastic day. Work wasn't that bad, although more stuff piled on me. But that's how it goes. Hapatapakata. Ba. Ba. Hapata. Hababa. Wow. Let's see. To send the silly doodle. There is either linking it here in the chat, or you can send it through Twitter. I need to get a blue sky. I feel those are the two ways right now available to me. You know, I forgot to post on Twitter. Whoops. Sometimes, when I want to send a picture, but I don't have an easy way to send it, I have a personal Discord that'll upload into a secret channel, but then I can just copy the link. So that way, I can just send the picture anywhere. Nice, cheap, and easy. It just works. A secret little silly. Something else
baby would probably be slowly and softly turning pages in a book. But I also feel like, alrighty, I'll go ahead and give it a look. Oh, sounds like a plan to me. I hope that you all can rest easy and relax. Once again, I'm very, very proud of everyone. Everyone is working hard, and I think that is incredible. I believe in you. I believe in all of you. You're going to do fantastic things. Rest easy. You deserve it. There it is. That's super cute. I absolutely adore that. Thank you. Goodness, you've just been so sweet. And if there's any sounds you want to hear, don't forget to let me know. We love pigment hours. Scouring the fields. I agree, Carmen, it is so cute. That would be funny though. Just bugging a pan. Maybe from far away. That would be silly. Let the sound of the breathing and the soft patter of the rain ease your soul. Rest easy. Relax. Everything is okay. tell me, what's everyone up to now? That's gonna be a fun drawing. I remember watching the good old Host Club anime way back in the day. It was a lot of fun. So, looking forward to that drawing too. Keep this up, and I'll have to stream more. Me too. I think it'd be incredible with all the remakes that we've been getting to see a nice comeback. Ow. That's right. It's all up to you. I'm kidding. I was definitely planning on keeping this up. No worries. I'll be here. No, don't point it out. I'm sorry. It's a sensitive thing, but it's also big and bulky and in the way. Okay, that one was on purpose. Our own high school host club is indeed a banger. I'm running for 1,000 miles, but now I'm barely breathing. Do you prefer subs or do you prefer dubs? Mystic Messenger. I've heard of Mystic Messenger. I've never really known much more than that, though. Tell me about it. A blast from the past. It has been years since I've heard of it. Zen and Jumin. You know what? Oh, there we go. A chat room simulator where you can romance a target. Oh, wow. That's really high stakes. That is a really cool design, though. Are you able to try again for a whole 7-week course with a character? Ah, that makes sense. I think there's something like that out now called Love in Deep Space, right? Oh, restart the whole game. That's rough. It's okay. I'll understand if you miss a day with me. 'Cause that just means I'll see you in the next one. Bang-a-boo. No, Solar. You need your sleep. Don't worry. I'm sure you'll catch me for the next one. I do have to think about when the next one will be, though. Just a suggestion. Well, then I'm suggesting it. Sleep is very important. And plus, you'll just dream about me, right? Just kidding. There's the EP. That's what we like to see. Man, could you imagine being a Zenless Zone Zero character? I think that would be really cool. To be so well animated. And maybe thigh jiggle. I know someone would enjoy that. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. Oh my. Staying up late. I do miss the nighttime. Those sleepless nights spent with friends or in games. I haven't touched Valorant in a long while. I do agree though, nighttime is the best. That's when we get to have the most fun. The sun is set, and with it, we can just enjoy the night. I brought this up last time too, but I love sunsets. I think they're one of the most beautiful things on this world that we have. And don't say that I compare. I know you're thinking it. Ow! Sorry about that. Shh. sorry. Shh, it's okay. I did not mean to hit you in the microphone. Shh, it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. No, no, please. Shh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. There. All better. Shh. There you go. All better. Can't wait to enhance the setup to make things even better. Just thinking of ways to improve. There. Yeah. Don't mind me hitting a few little a mukbang. I mean, if that's what you want, we can try to make it happen. Oh, that sounds so dangerous. What would you like to eat together? What you got in mind? Enoki mushrooms. Those do look very fun to eat. And I do love mushrooms. 'Cause what can I say? I'm a fun guy. I'm sorry. They tastes good with a spicy sauce and ramen. That's good to know. I can't resist. When it comes to mushroom jokes, there is no cap. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think that's worse than hitting the mic. I'm sorry, I'll stop. I'll be good, I promise. No more puns. For tonight. What are the crimes? What did he do? He made puns. Guilty. I'm not gonna lie, my hands feel really soft today. I think the moisturizer is working. With the cold air, it's so easy to just get kinda dry. Definitely looking forward to the. Oh no. Wouldn't be the first time. Since we're doing the mukbang, you know what? I'm gonna stop myself. No more puns, I promised. Listen, sometimes dogs and cats can get very, very frisky. Especially when you have a treat in your hand. And sometimes their little teeth will just. Listen, I love animals. You play with pets. Sometimes you just get bit. Ow. Oh my. That's a dangerous sentence. Shh. Let the voices rest. Shh. Relax. Relax. Shh. It's okay. Take it easy. Everything's okay. your mind go blank. Just enjoy the sounds and relax. And thank you, Big Hero, for the follow. Shh. Everything's okay. You've done very well today. The voices always want to speak nonsense. Sometimes it's okay to indulge them, but only sometimes. Shh. All right, everyone. I'm going to take another small break. Going to hydrate and take care of some things. I won't be gone long. Go ahead, make some tea, sit back, relax. Don't worry, I'll be there. It's okay. I'm back. I'm glad to see everything is still in one piece. Of course. Now why would something happen? No, of course. No nonsense at all. Just lots of cute drawings. And of course, fanfic writing. Drinking boba. And more. Shh. This is a calm and peaceful place. Plenty of time for fun later. For now, it's time to relax, to take it easy, to just enjoy. Today, I did not expect today to go so well. But it's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to look back and see what works. And evolve from there. And I'm excited to have you with me on that journey. Hello there, Jam Jam, and welcome. How are you doing tonight? I'm doing very, very well. And thank you, Jam Jam, for that follow. I very much appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. How was your day today? Anything good or exciting happen? For me, I got to stream. You burnt your finger. Well, that's not good. What were you doing that led you to burn your finger? I hope you were able to put ice on it. What kind of cookies? Listen, we need that candy. It's almost Halloween. If we have nothing now, what will we give later? Speaking of candy, you know, fair enough, Solariaki. What's your favorite kind of candy? If I had to decide, I would say Reese's Cups. Candy chalk, that's unique. Chocolate chip cookies, that's a classic. Man, I could go for some candy chalk now. It's been a long time. You like candy? That's wonderful. I enjoy sweet things very, very much. Sweet fruit, sweet treats, sweet people, sweet animals. Listen, you can have some, just don't empty the bowl. We still need that thing. If you take too much, I'll bash the mic again. There. I'm not going to actually hit the microphone. I promise. Unless it's an accident. Shh, it's okay. Shh, I'm kidding. You're okay. I promise. You're okay. Shh. There. Ow. Let me tell you, this desk is my greatest enemy tonight. Trick or treat. I think I'll give you a treat. There, Solar. There. I'll have to be careful. That way, in a bowl for Halloween, what kind of bowl would it be? Usually, we have a cute little cauldron, but we also bought a cute little spider-shaped bowl. It has little eyes on it. It's very, very adorable. Oh my. Shh. I suppose it is getting late. A raccoon. That's a lovely costume. Or you just mean as a thief. I guess I'll just have to buy some more. A potato. There's a few things you can do with that. You can stay in the bag, or sorry. I'm just thinking you could make a French fry costume. Or some other different potatoey form. No pun, it's not a pun, it's not a pun, I promise. Listen, we like to have fun here. Relaxing, cozy, and silly. I mean, I could think of a potato pun, but again, I promise no more tonight. I get to do a stream. Speaking of potatoes, though, what is your favorite way to enjoy a potato? Personally, I love fries. Waffle fries are so good. Excellent taste, jam jam. Also, potato salad, and curly fries. I love curly fries, especially if they have good seasoning. I love how food can bring everyone together. We all gotta eat after all, and there's so much good out there. Also, for the Mario Kart comment, that honestly feels very accurate. I've been playing a different card game, and I can't go back. I've tried, but it'll take some practice to get into the groove again. But hey, it would be fun to play. Shh, let the voices rest. There'll be more time. Let's not lose you from Twitch quite yet. Shh, it's okay. Relax. I'd like to enjoy your company for much longer. With all the things we have yet to do, we Guess what? Oh, uh-oh. Oh no, my candy. What type of candy did you get? Hapatapakata. Enjoy my wisdom. Oh no. I guess I'll just have to buy another bag. Full of delicious candy treats. With Three Musketeers and Snickers and Reese's. Ah, my absolute favorite. I love Reese's Cups, as was previously established. Ow. I hope you're all having a good time, and I hope you're all relaxing, that this is helping you have a good night, a good end to the day. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. Relaxed as a squishy hamster. Ah, wonderful. As we go and pet the pancake. I remember many years back, our family had a hamster. Kid Core Genius, welcome to the stream. Hope you get nice and cozy. And please, don't steal too much from the candy bowl. Hi, and welcome. Have you had a good day today? Wonderful. My poor wallet is gonna be so empty. Sounds good, Kid Core Genius. Tell me, what's your favorite candy? A kissing sticker, oh my. Haven't seen one of those in a long while either. Ah, good taste, Genius. Good taste. We do love Sour Patch Kids around here. First, they are sour, but then they become so sweet. Ah, I'm glad the candy bowl is nice and ready, just for such an occasion. whisperies. The whispery version, goodness gracious, Solar. We only met today. Well, now you have to. And if there's any sounds you want to hear, I'll do my best, of course. Just let me know. Although I am quite limited for now. Those are some fun emotes. Very interesting. You got it. Sorry. We do love the popping sounds. We do enjoy Poplio as well. Speaking of Poplio, what's everyone's favorite Pokemon? I think mine has become Rowlet. Because they're a cute little bird. Oh snap, the double Umbreon. That was nearly synced up, wow. Ah, Cubone. Lovely child. Ah, Snorlax is great too. I was always an Espeon kind of guy myself. And Eevee. I always related a lot with Eevees. Ah, Yveltal. I would ask why, but that's just the shape. How may I help you, Solar? Oh, we like to have fun around here, remember that? I agree with that, genius. I can't wait till we get some more. I think there should be an Eevee for every type. We need all the eons. I keep saying it, but thank you all so much for making today a fantastic day to stream. Also, I have heard of Hoopa. They're a cute little guy that becomes very, very big. I'm glad you came by too, and that goes for all of you. Whether you're just relaxing and lurking, or chatting the chat place up, thank you very much. You've all been so fun and amazing. Truly and honestly, thank you. Thank you so much. No, not the candy bowl. Not while I'm being sappy. I suppose that's what I get. No. You guys. This man, he's now a father. He dropped a 40 on the ground and yelled, "Scatter!" Wait, no, I want the Snickers. I need those. I'm not me when I'm hungry. That's okay. I'll just have to buy some more. We'll get the king size package that comes with 2. So we can share them, both me and you. John Mulaney, new in town. Don't worry. From now on, I've got you. It's a weird, obscure trivia. And for stories. And for sounds. Good old Dance Dance Revolution. Haven't been to an arcade in a long while to play. Can't believe it's party time when we're supposed to be relaxing. That's okay though. Burn out the energy. It'll help you sleep all the better. I will admit, I mainly plan to use this channel for ASMR type content. But if you guys guys want to see other more things, I'm amenable to the idea. From games to more, who knows? After all, it's literally the second stream. That's okay, you just want the nice voice, man. You got it. Good old horror games. I do have quite a few to go through. Oh, that sounds so difficult. Wait, there's that one game. Yeah, there's Quiet Place, and there's also the other one, where you have to stay below a certain threshold, or else they get you. Honestly, that sounds so hard. If I hit my desk, I'm dead. Perished instantly because I tapped the mic. Rest in peace, Cassian Radley. Perished due to high gain sensitivity. It was a good run, guys. Yeah. I don't remember the name of it. Yeah. That's right, both of you. Yeah. You walk in the forest and there's a plane. As you go into a town. It had an update recently, so that would probably be fun to try. It's okay. We'll remember it later. Listen, sometimes we just gotta breeze on by. Keep things nice and chill. Those are good ideas, though. Just nice, calm, relaxing games. We're gonna play web fishing. I am obsessed with web fishing. It's such a good game. Calm, relaxing, so much to fish. I'm glad we're all in agreement. Cassian Radley, ASMR Fisher. Yeah, it has that vibe, with some very fun fishing on a cute little island. Lots of customization. Well, some customization. I hope we get more. But there's fishing, there's treasure hunting, scratchy lotteries, some decorating, and you can turn off the pixelation. That way, you can just have the nice, clean graphics. It's very nice and only $5. Let's go gambling. You know what to do. Jam Jam. That's right, genius. Let's be financially responsible. It's very good to save up. Aw, dang it. You're all so silly. It's wonderful. Nope, there's a lock on that thing. No wallet. None of that. No. Listen, payday is next week. You gotta wait. First the candy. Now this. Fair enough. That's one way to get you all to come back. Are they more chocolate chip cookies, Jam Jam? 'Cause those sound very, very good right now. Ooh. Sugar cookies do sound wonderful too. Ah, wonderful. Nice, warm, and ooey gooey. The best kind of chocolate chip cookie a person could ask for. I know I'm partial myself to a white chip macadamia nut cookie. That's right, Jam Jam. Just perfect. That's exciting, Jam Jam. That's right. Good old macadamia nuts. Although I think my favorite nuts are cashews. That's awesome, Jam Jam. If you've never had a macadamia nut before, that's alright. They're nice. Also kinda small. So that makes them really good in a cookie. Almonds. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to those. And walnuts. And any sort of tree nut, really. The more wrinkled it is, the worse I'll die. That's alright, though. I've made it so far without. Okay, there have been a few episodes, but I'm okay. Everything's just fine. I promise I'll be okay. Just don't give me any on accident, and we'll be just fine. That's right, all day. I do feel myself winding down. Give me 1 second. Oh my gosh. Solar Yagi, I swear, you are the sweetest person we have around. That's okay. It just makes the next time all the more exciting to meet back up. Alright, I'm gonna be right back for a little bit. And then I'll avoid saying my list of allergies. It's long. And it's bad. So, be right back. is my dog because you didn't know I had one. Oh, goodness gracious, everyone. You know I can scroll up, right? Because it's the one thing you can't replace. You're all very, very silly. So, while I was gone, I found someone nice to raid. I hope I could raid. This is a brand new account. But we'll spend a little bit more time together. And then we'll say goodnight. That's okay. We have a whole pod of your cries. And this is why you keep the debit card separate from your wallet and never take it with you. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Oh, my little bunch of thieves. Always waiting until my back is turned. When it turns out, my back is... Hey, no. You leave him alone. He's an old man. As the saying goes, let sleeping dogs lie. Goodness gracious, guys. You're all funny. But as we wind down, I'm glad to see that you all had fun. And that you enjoyed. Goodness gracious, Jam Jam. The pops will get your attention back. I don't know if it's working. Well, what can you do? I'm glad to see popping is the most effective thing. Am I streaming tomorrow? I wasn't planning on it, but I at least can for a little bit of time, a few hours. I'll work on the Discord and give you guys a place to stay. Don't worry. Now I have to name the General Jet Candy Bowl. Because you're all so sweet. And thieves. You're silly. Please, sir, may I have some more? May I have another? We just want everything. Heart, mind, body, and building. So silly. Alright, everyone. It's been a lot of fun. But do have to wind down for the night. Thank you all so much for coming by and making this a fantastic stream, even if you stole everything. It's okay. I'll get it back. Rest easy, everyone. Sleep well. And I'll catch you all next time.